Right. Hey everyone. Thanks for being here today. So we're going to move a little bit slowly today, work our way to the ground, and look at Supta Kurmasana, some of the mechanics involved for that posture. It's a really deep posture in the hips, into the hips. So we'll do some postures before to prepare our bodies for that. And we'll just see what happens. I'll give you lots of options and variations to work with different forms of Supta Kurmasana, and all of them are good. So let's meet in Samasthitihi. You can have the big toes together with the heels slightly apart, or you can have the feet a little bit further away. Whatever allows you to feel the support of the earth. Feel free to close the eyes as we begin the class. Feel the stability coming from the ground up into the legs, even up into the pelvis. And feel that length moving up along the spine, out through the crown of the head. Releasing the tension behind the eyes, the tension in the throat, the shoulders softening. Notice the breath. Perhaps starting to tone the vocal cords for Ujjayi breathing. Beginning to establish the breath for the practice. And orient the attention to the breath. We practice yoga so that we can give this space to notice this unfolding of the breath that's happening all the time. We give ourselves some time to just focus on that. Because it's so amazing and generous and intelligent. So for an hour we get to notice that and make space for it to fully express itself through the body. Beginning this practice with an appreciation for that, for this natural, spontaneous unfolding of the breath. Feeling the sensations that come along with that. Let's bring the palms to heart center, and we'll begin with the opening mantra. Inhale, deep breath in through the nose. Vande Gurunam Charanaravinде Sandarshita Swatma Sukhavabode Nishreyase Jangalikayamane Samsara Hala Hala Mohashantiye Abahu Purushakaram Shankachakrasi Dharinam Sahasra Shirasam Shwetam Pranamami Patanjalim. Good. Exhale. Bring the arms back down to your side, and we'll start with Surya namaskar A. Inhale, arms over your head, palms touch. Exhale, fold forward with a long spine, taking your time, easing into the body. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step back into a high plank. Lower the knees to modify, bend the elbows. Inhale, lift the heart any amount from the floor. Upward facing dog or cobra pose. Exhale into downward facing dog. You could also take child's pose if you need to. It's a moon day, so just notice if the body needs to take it easy today. And allow that to inform the way you move, the edge that you're working towards today. Your edge is different every day, the edge that feels appropriate to work with. Feeling into the body, so instead of that being like a mental decision and a mental process deciding where your edge is. Allow the breath, allow the body to inform that. So feeling into the body, what feels appropriate for the body today. Let's take one more breath here. Fully exhale. And step or jump to the top of the mat. Inhale into half lift. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, come to stand, pressing through the feet, reaching through the hands. Exhale, floating the arms back down to your side. Again, like that, inhale, arms over your head. Exhale, fold, moving with the breath. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step back into a plank, bend the elbows, shoulders away from the ears. Inhale, point the toes, lift the heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good, deep, steady breath. Settle into the breath. And finding that tone in the vocal cords. Just a gentle tone in the vocal cords without over-engaging the throats. Smoothing out the edges of the breath. So finding that steady breath in. Natural pause without holding the breath in between. And steady breath out. Natural pause without holding the breath out. Matching the length of the inhales to the length of the exhales. One more here. Fully exhale. Step or jump to half lift. Exhale, fold, drawing the lower belly in. Inhale, come to stand. Tailbone gets heavy, heart lifts and reaches up with the pinkies. Exhale, samasthiti. Inhale, arms over your head. Exhale, fold, fully exhaling. Inhale, full breath in, half lift. Exhale, step or jump back. Finish the exhale at the bottom of the plank. Inhale, upward facing dog. Maybe lifting the thighs. Exhale, downward facing dog or child's pose. Settling. Good. Waking up the hands and the feet, connecting to the earth, feeling the support of the earth, coming up through the feet, down through the hands as you press the hands down into the mat and lift the sit bones up and back. Settle in. Just take one more. Fully exhale. On your next inhale, make your way to the top, half lift. Exhale, fold forward, knees bent or straight. Inhale, come to stand. Press down to reach up. Exhale, samasthiti. Let's move into Surya namaskar B. Inhale, take a deep breath in. Exhale, bend the knees. Inhale, lift the arms and the heart into Utkatasana. Exhale, fold forward, straightening the legs as much as it's comfortable. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step or jump back. Tone the lower belly as you bend the elbows. Inhale, upward facing dog. Deep breath in without rushing through this. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, deep breath in. Exhale, right foot forward, back heel down. Inhale, come up, Virabhadrasana. Warrior one, arms over your head. Exhale, frame the right foot. Take your time. Exhale, high plank. Stabilize the high plank. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Reach back through the toes. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale here. Exhale, left foot forward, back heel down. Inhale, come up, Virabhadrasana. Feel into your Virabhadrasana without rushing. Exhale, frame the left foot. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, slowly lower down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Hold it here for an extra moment. Exhale, downward facing dog or child's pose. Settle in. Again, take child's pose if you need to ease into it a bit, or just ease into the practice a bit. Settle into the breath, settle into the body, feeling into the body. Good. Soften where you can. One more breath. On your next inhale, make your way to the top, half lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, bend the knees, reach the arms up. Exhale, Samasthiti. Good. Let's come into Padangusthasana. Bring the feet hip width distance apart. Inhale, lift the heart, reach it forward as you fold forward, catch the big toes, bend the knees if you need to. Let's take another breath in here. Press through the feet, reach the heart forward to create length. And on your next exhale, move into the forward fold as you reach the heart forward, so keep lengthening the spine as you move into the forward fold. And at a certain moment, once you've reached the limit in the hamstring flexibility, soften the back, relax the muscles along the spine to just slightly round the spine, but not so much where you close the heart. So keep the collarbones spreading. You can point the elbows out to the side to help with that. As you reach the heart, the crown of the head towards the mat, gently. Bend the knees again if you need to, as much as you need to, so that the legs are strong and stable, supporting the posture. One more breath here. Fully exhale. We're going to move with the breath. So inhale, lift the heart. Fully exhale. Inhale, slide the hands underneath the feet, Padahastasana, bend the knees if you need to. And again, inhale, press the feet down, reach the heart forward. Exhale, keep lengthening the spine as you move in. So you feel like the rib cage is coming away from the pelvis as you fold in. And then finding as much release as possible through the back, through the neck, keeping the legs strong. Softly drawing in the lower belly. Settle into the breath. One more. Fully exhale. On your next inhale, lift the heart. And again, fully exhale without rushing. Inhale, come all the way back up to standing into Samasthiti. Good. Uttita Trikonasana. Inhale, step the right foot back, arms to the side. Exhale, pivot the right toes towards the back of the mat. And you're going to reach through that right hand as you start to tilt the pelvis. You can even allow the left side of the pelvis to roll forward as you keep reaching through the right hand. And then the right hand lands either on the shin, onto a block, or to catch the big toe. And then reach the left arm up. And then once you have your hands in place, root down through the feet, press the feet down and away from each other, and maybe start to press that left side of the hip back towards the front of the mat, if that feels okay in the hip joints. Draw the lower belly in, so you're really feeling that support of the support of the earth moving up the legs into the pelvis, drawing the lower belly in, and softening the breath. Good. Where can you relax? Take one more breath here. Fully exhale. Inhale, come up. Pivot the feet, right toes turn in, left toes move out. And again, as you reach forward through the left hand, let the right side of the hip roll forward as the pelvis tilts. And then place the hand down wherever it reaches without letting the torso fall over. Keep the torso over the left leg. Reach the right arm up. And then press both feet down and away from each other, and maybe start to move the right side of the pelvis. So like you can think of that bony part in the front of the right hip presses back towards the right heel. Sometimes that helps to feel like a really nice stretch to the side of the body. But if you feel impingements or pain in the joint, in the hip joint, then don't press that back so much. Draw the lower belly in, keep reaching the tailbone back towards the right heel as you keep pressing through the feet. That'll give a sense of lightness to the whole posture. Good, let's take one more breath here. Keep reaching through that right hand. Fully exhale. Inhale, come out of it. Reach the hands away from each other and squeeze the heels towards each other. Exhale, Samastitihi. We're going to come into Parshva Konasana. Inhale, step the right foot back again, wider stance. Exhale, pivot the right toes, bend into the right knee. Make sure the right knee is over the right ankle. And then you're going to, again, reach through that right hand and then either place the right hand on the floor or the right forearm on the thigh. And then reach that left arm down and around over the head. You're making a line from the left pinky down to the outside edge of the left foot. And the pinky side of that left hand is spinning down to face the ground to roll that left shoulder away from the ear. Good. Keep pressing through the feet. So again, pressing the feet down and away from each other, lifting the arches, and then feel that lift moving all the way up into the pelvis, and then moving up along the spine to feel lightness along the spine. One more breath here. Inhale, come up, pivot the right toes in, the left toes out. Exhale, again, bend into the left knee and move that left knee back over the left ankle. It's going to deepen the external rotation. So already starting to feel into that for Supta Kurmasana. And take the version that works for you today, according to the edge that's available for you today in the body and also in the mind. Pressing the feet down and away from each other, lifting the arches, and feel that lift translate all the way up into the pelvis. Good. Maybe spinning the chest towards the ceiling a little bit without arching the back. Deep breaths. Feel the rib cage expand, smoothing out the edges of the breath. One more breath. Inhale. Come out of it. Reach the arms to the side, feet parallel to each other. Squeeze the heels in towards each other. Exhale, Samastitihi. Prasarita Padottanasana. Inhale, step the right foot back, feet parallel, hands to your hips. We're going to do all four. This is a really good preparation for the hip flexion that's needed in Supta Kurmasana. Exhale, bring the hands to the floor. Inhale, reach the heart forward like Trini. Exhale, fold forward, crown of the head to the mat. Towards the mat. Doesn't have to touch the mat. It's actually better if it's just lightly touching the mat, if at all. And then if your elbows are bent, you can walk the hands back. Keep the elbows moving in towards each other and the shoulders away from the ears. Good. Legs are strong. A couple more deep, steady breaths here. So feel what's happening in the hips. We're moving deeper into hip flexion, folding the front of the hips even more. On your next inhale, straighten the arms, lift the heart. Exhale fully. Inhale, come all the way up to the top, hands to the hips. Exhale at the top. B, inhale, reach the arms to the side. Exhale, hands to your hips. Inhale, deep breath in, press the feet, lift the heart. Exhale, fold forward, keep the hands on the hips. Good. And with your hands, where your hands are, you have like your 4 fingers in the front of the pelvis, at the lowest part of the lower belly. See if you can use your fingers to help you soften and draw the lowest part of the lower belly in. So notice if you're pushing the lower belly out, draw it in and see if that helps to soften deeper into the hip flexion. Keeping the legs strong. One more breath here. Fully exhale. Inhale, come all the way up to the top. Exhaling there. C, inhale, reach the arms to the side. Exhale, interlace the fingers behind the back. Inhale, lift the heart as the fingertips reach towards the floor. Exhale, fold forward. Relax the neck. Relax the shoulders. If you're in this deep enough, you can try tucking the chin so that the back of the head is coming towards the floor. Good. If not, you're just reaching the crown of the head towards the mat. Legs are strong, soften and draw the lower belly in. Without forcing the hands towards the floor, just see where they land. Let's take one more breath here. And on your next inhale, come all the way up. Exhaling there. Inhale, hands to your hips. Last one for D. Exhale, folds forward, catch the big toes. Inhale, press the feet, reach the heart forward, creating length. Exhale, keep lengthening as you fold in, deeper into the hips. Crown of the head reaches towards the mat and the legs stay strong. You're grounding down through the feet, through the 3 points in each foot. Behind the big toes, behind the pinkies, and down through the center of the heel. Deep breaths, steady the breath. Good, stay with it for one more breath. Inhale, press to the feet, lift the heart, fully exhale. Inhale, come all the way up to the top. Exhale into Samastitihi. Inhale, arms over your head, palms touch. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step or jump back. Chaturanga Dandasana, heels lifted or lowered. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, jump both feet forward. Bend the knees. Reach the arms up. 5 breaths in Utkatasana. Good. Keep dropping the tailbone, drawing the lower belly in, and reaching up through the heart and the pinkies. Good. For 3 deep breaths. For 2. And 1. Hands to the mat. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step or jump back. Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, let's jump through to seated. If we need a very simple variation, bring the knees to the floor, cross the ankles and sit back behind the feet, straighten the legs for Dandasana. Legs straight out in front of you. Feet are flexed. Heels are grounding into the mat. Legs are strong. And then the hands are next to the hips to help spread across the collarbones, lift the heart, and drop the chin as you keep the sit bones grounded, moving down into the earth. It's like the sit bones are plugging into the earth. And then from there you can find this lift that comes from the inside rather than coming from the hands pressing into the mat. Feel that lift internally, from that internal support that comes from grounding the pelvis and grounding the sit bones into the mat. And the tailbone gets a little bit heavy. The front of the pelvis feels like it's hollowing a little bit. And then you're lifting the lowest part of the lower belly. It feels like you lift the belly out of the pelvis. And so you feel this internal energetic movement from the pelvis towards the heart. Let's take one more deep breath here. And releasing that, folding forward. Inhale, catch the big toes or just bring the fingertips alongside the legs. And then exhale, same thing as in the standing forward fold. Keep lengthening the spine as you fold forward. And relaxing the muscles along the spine. Keeping the heart reaching towards the toes. Keep the feet together and reaching forward through the base of the big toes so that you're making the actions as if to internally rotate the legs. Settle into the breath. We'll just take a couple more breaths here. Good. On your next inhale, look up and lengthen. Exhale there. Purvottanasana. Point the toes. Drop the tailbone. So reach the tailbone towards the heels. Hands behind the hips. Fingertips pointing forward. Inhale. Reach the tailbone towards the heels. to lift up into reverse plank as the toes point towards the mat. Keep the feet together. Good. Keep lifting the pelvis for 3, 2, 1. Exhale, slowly come down. Let's take a vinyasa. Cross the shins, roll over the feet or lift up into a plank. Exhale, chaturanga dandasana. Inhale into upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, let's jump through to seated. And let's come to bring the right ankle over the left knee. Good, and let's just spend some time here to gently start opening the external rotation in the right hip. So it's bend the left knee. Good. And we're just going to be here for a little bit. And then we'll move our way into lotus, but it's kind of like a little preparatory stretch. So you're bending that left knee as close as it's comfortable towards the left hip. So you can get to like really gauge this to wherever you're at and to wherever the hip wants to go. And then maybe you can walk the hands a little bit closer towards your hips to reach the chest towards the shin. Good, and then from here, your right foot is flexed. Now we're gonna actively move a little bit deeper into this by reaching and moving the right knee towards the floor, so away from the right shoulder. So just notice like what muscles engage to do that actively. You're just like actively moving a little bit deeper into the joint. Keep lifting the heart. Good. Now you can stay here, or you can bring the foot, catch the foot, and bring the right hand underneath the right shin, catch the outside of the foot, and start to bring the foot towards the forehead. Good. So there's just a little bit deeper if you want that. If not, just stay in this pose. Good. And if you want to kind of like really yin out today, you could also do this lying on your back. Just depends on what you need today. Good. So you can be here with the heel moving towards the forehead. If you do this, be careful not to like jut the chin forward and like really hunch the back just to try to get the head towards the foot. Keep the heart lifting, like your back is rounding and your tailbone is dropping, but you're keeping the heart lifted up. And then you're bringing the foot to you. And then you can do that, try it with the left leg straight as well. And then again, also from this position, whatever position you're in, you can work on that activation in the hip by moving the right knee away from you. Good, let's take a few more breaths wherever you are. These could also all be seen as like variations of pigeon. Good. 2 more deep breaths. So you can keep activating into the hip, moving the knee away from you. 1 more breath. Good. Let's release that. And let's take a vinyasa. Inhale, make your way into a plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, jump through. Let's do the left side. So maybe you start here. Good. And you can have the hands behind you. I should have mentioned this on the other side. Or you can reach over and catch the right foot. That just takes you really into like the deepest version of this one. You could also do this lying on your back. Especially if you feel like you're really dumping into the lower back. That's really common when we start moving into this pattern, to dump into the lower back. So you really need to focus on drawing the lower belly in, and even though you keep the tailbone dropping, keep the sit bones reaching forward, you have to counteract that by lifting the heart so that you don't just dump down into the lower back. For a long time I had a lot of pain in my lower vertebra, because I wasn't finding that lift. Because instead I was like trying to force myself into a deeper leg behind the head, instead of establishing the appropriate foundation first and then moving into it. Good. So whatever version you're working with, let's take a couple more breaths. Good. One more breath. And slowly release that. Take a vinyasa. Inhale, cross the shins into a plank. Exhale, chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, let's jump through to seated. Let's do Marchasana A to work a little bit more the hip flexion. Also very important for Supta Kurmasana. Bend the right foot, bend the right knee, place the foot so there's space between the right foot and the left leg. And then once you place the right foot down, lift the right hip. And sit on a blanket if that's difficult to find that tilt in the pelvis. And then allow the right knee to fall out to the side as you fold forward. And then draw the knee back in so that the inside of the right thigh is hugging the right side of the torso. And then from here you can either catch the left foot or the left leg. So you're still working on the hip flexion by taking this form, or you can take the bind, reaching the arm around, spinning the thumb down, binding behind the back, and then folding over the left leg. If you have that bind, if you're going for the bind, think about reaching the elbows away from each other to spread across the collarbones. Good, you can also just be here. And I like to, in this form with the hand catching the inside of the left foot, you can have that left hand next to you, pressing down to help reach the chest forward, and thereby deepening the hip flexion. Relaxing the muscles along the back, the lower back. All of that also needs to be really open. Good, one more breath here. Inhale, look up and lengthen. Exhale there. Let's keep the knee up and let's come into Marchasana C. So leaning back, rounding the spine and twisting to the right. And so you can either bring the elbow to the outside of the knee, or you can go for the bind if you'd like. And here you could also sort of work on that position of the torso. There's a similarity here that I was just talking about with when we start moving deeper into hip rotation, hip external rotation, where you want to find that balance between dropping the tailbone and lifting the heart, dropping the tailbone, lifting the rib cage. So you're not rounding the whole back and dumping into the lower back. You want to find that opposition. And it's an opposition that supports each other. Those two actions support each other. One more breath, deep, smooth breath. And exhale, gently come out of that. Let's take a vinyasa. Inhale, make your way into a plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, jump through to seated. Let's do all that on the left side. Bend the left knee. And when you bend the knee and plant the foot, the left hip lifts off the ground. Let the knee fall out to the side so the torso slides on the inside of the thigh, and then squeeze the thigh back in. Good, take the first version. You could also take the bind version and use a strap to make your arms longer. I'm just thinking about the internal form of this, moving deeper into the hip flexion on the left side and softening the muscles of the lower back, keeping the right leg strong to support and stabilize the whole posture. Steady breathing. Let's take one more here. Inhale, look up. And exhale, release. Let's go into the twisting. Inhale, lean back, create space. Exhale, move into the twist. Find the form you want to work with today. You can also just hug the knee. Also great. Feel the tailbone dropping and the heart lifting. tailbone dropping also feels like tailbone getting heavy. It's the opposite feeling of arching the back and reaching the sit bones back and up. Good. One more breath here. And gently come out of the twist. Let's take a vinyasa. Inhale, make your way into a plank. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, jump through to seated. And let's come into Kurmasana. So we're gonna bring the feet about mat width distance apart or a little bit wider. Flex the feet, bend the knees. We'll all start like this. And then just like in Marichyasana A, let the knees fall out to the side so that you can allow the pelvis to roll forward and come to fold in between the legs. Wherever you land, either on the elbows or maybe on the hands. And then once you find the edge you're working with today, then draw the knees back in. So you feel like the inner thighs are squeezing in. So that activation is important here. So you're making the actions as if to internally rotate the legs. And then if you're in it deep enough where the chest is like pretty close to the floor, if you're far from the floor, then this next part is probably not going to be very available to you, which is fine. You just keep working here. But if you're ready, you can lean over to one side and slide the arm underneath the leg, reaching back at a diagonal. Some people also like to reach straight out, which I'm fine with. Lean over to the other side, reach the other arm, come back to the center, and spread the fingers, press the palms down and towards you, and notice how that opens up the heart. You press the hands down and towards you. And then from here, if there's space, you can start to straighten the legs so the chest comes towards the floor. And keep pressing the palms, wake up the hands, press the palms down and towards you as you keep activating those internal rotators through the leg. So making the actions as if to internally rotate the legs. Feels like you're squeezing the inner thighs in, toes pointing up, maybe the legs engage so much that you lift the feet off the ground. Deep breaths, find your breath. Let's take a couple more here. Good, you can also just be here, working on this first forward fold. And the great thing about this form, even if the arms aren't underneath the legs, is you're still working the hip flexion, which is the main focus of this pose. You're still working on lengthening the lower back muscles in a way that's appropriate for your body. Let's take one more breath here. Inhale, gently start to come out of it. Okay, come all the way out of it. I know sometimes we transition straight into the next posture in Ashtanga, but we're just gonna come right out of it. So we're gonna work with Supta Kurmasana. And again, you have a lot of different options. So one version I really like is to work with blocks, lifting the feet onto blocks. If you want to start to get that feeling of wrapping the arms behind and taking that bind, because sometimes it's just hard to get into that when you're at home working on this on your own. So putting the feet on blocks just gives it all a little bit more space. So 2 blocks or 1 block. Good. So you just have more space to work with the binding part. And it might feel like a little bit not graceful getting in, but don't worry about it. I always feel like a disaster getting into this, but it's fine. Once you get into a version and get into like the form that works for you, then you can kind of hold it there, and it's like a good place to work for Supta Kurmasana. So, and you can also do all of this with the feet directly on the floor. So you can just work here, folding forward. So you think about bringing like the like that socket between your eyes and your nose to where the heels are. It actually feels kind of nice, especially if you have like a headache. You know, when you get those like headaches like in the socket of your eyes, and you place that part of your eye where the heels of the feet are, feels kind of nice. And then you can just have the arms over the legs. And then here you could also keep working with that activation of the external rotators by moving the knees towards the floor. And you won't see much from the outside, but the inside is working very differently. Good. If you want to go deeper and kind of start playing around with that bind, you can tuck the chin so that the head comes behind the heels. So you really have to have like a wide diamond shape here. So you come down the head in front of the heels. And for now, I'm just grabbing onto the blocks to kind of just like settle into this form. And you start rounding the back a little bit more. And now if you want, you can start to bring the arms behind you. And so what you'll need to do is reach the arm to the front, to the side, and around, and internally rotate the shoulder. I'm going to show you in a minute by spinning the thumb down. And you might need to do, when you do the first side, do a little bit of that lean to the other side, like we did when we were getting into Kurmasana. So, lean over to one side, and the trick here is to also try to get the shoulder underneath the leg. So take some time to like wiggle the shoulders underneath, and then thumb pointing down with the palms facing up, bring the hands back behind you. Good. Keep wiggling to get the shoulders underneath the calves. And then from here, if you want to go for the bind, reach the arms to the side and up. So you feel the elbows lift up so that the hands get a little bit closer to each other. Maybe you take the bind. And all through this, keep the knees moving towards the floor. There's a tendency to want to lift the knees away from the floor, and then you're just kind of making it harder for yourself. So let's just a couple more breaths, whatever form you're working with, whether you're just folding forward towards the heels, or you're working towards more of that like turtle form of bringing the torso underneath the legs. Good. Let's take one more breath wherever you are. And now we're going to try to lift up. If you went for the version where you bring the shoulders underneath the legs, then you can bring the hands forward, plant the hands, and lift the legs up so that when you come up, the legs are behind your arms. And if you want, you can try this transition. Shift forward, lift the hips, and bring the legs back into Bakasana. You can keep the elbows a little bit bent with the chest forward. And maybe you bring one foot and then the other foot. And usually your Bakasana ends up really low unless you manage to get some momentum and hop the knees up towards the top of the arms into Bakasana. This is the conventional transition. And then exhale, jump back into Chaturanga Dandasana. That was all optional. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, jump through to seated. And let's lie down on our back. Bend for bridge. Take a deep forward. Inhale, press through the feet and lift the pelvis. And you can shrug the shoulders down to either catch the ankles or interlace the fingers. Keep pressing through the feet, reaching the knees forward and lifting the pelvis for 3. Don't let the knees splay out to the side. 2. So again, making the actions as if to internally rotate the legs. 1 more breath. And as you exhale, roll down the spine from the very top, slowly moving towards the sacrum. Once the sacrum touches, inhale, deep breath in. Again, exhale, reach the tailbone forward, the knees forward. Inhale, either coming into bridge pose or bringing the hands next to the ears for Urdhva Dhanurasana. Careful moving into this. We didn't do much to open the shoulders. But if it feels okay, feel free to move into full wheel pose. Feet parallel to each other, pressing through the feet, spreading the upper back, lifting the sacrum. Deep breaths. Take one more wherever you are. Exhale. Roll down the spine. And last one, inhale. Exhale, tailbone forward, knees forward. Inhale, bridge or forward Dhanurasana. Settle into the breath. Stay with it. One more. And exhale, slowly roll down the spine. Good. Inhale, rock up to seated, the sake of vinyasa. Exhale, chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, jump through, straight legs. Touch the feet. Exhale, fold forward. You can also take a diamond shape with the legs and fold forward that way. It's also a nice way to release the lower back after back bending. Good, releasing the back. Stay with the breath. Just a couple more here. One more breath here. Inhale, come out of it. And we'll just do the first 3 shoulder stands. So exhale, lie down on your back and bring the feet over the hips. You can stay here with the hips on the ground for the entire shoulder stand sequence, or you can lift the hips and bring the hands to the lower back. Shrug the shoulders down the back. Maybe moving the chin away from the chest. Slowing down the breath. Deep breaths. Good. On your next exhale, moving into halasana. The feet touch. You have the option to interlace the fingers, straighten the arms. Lengthening the spine as you reach your sit bones towards the ceiling. Karnapidasana, bending the knees, rounding the spine. Option to bring the hands to the lower back. And exhale, roll down the spine and slowly lower the legs to the floor. We'll come into Matsyasana, catching behind the thighs, pressing through the elbows, lifting the heart, and bring the crown of the head to the mat. You could also do this in the more conventional version of Matsyasana with the legs in lotus. Either way, you're lifting the sacrum, lifting the heart, opening the throat. Deep breaths. Feel the rib cage expand as you inhale. And gently come out of it. Inhale into Chakrasana. You can take a backward roll or just rock up to seated. Make your way into Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, let's come to a seated position. Again, you can take full lotus if you'd like, or just cross the shins. Take the bind or wrap the arms behind the back. Inhale, deep breath in. Exhale, fold forward. Settle into the breath, following the breath through the inhale, through the exhale. And if it feels like it's okay to lengthen the breath without straining it, find that edge. Smoothing out the transitions, smoothing out the edges. One more breath here. Fully exhale, empty of breath, come up. Once the shoulders come over the hips, then take the inhale. Release the arms and bring the wrists towards the knees and the pointer towards the thumb. Just like Dandasana, feel the sit bones rooting down. From that ground of support, feel the energy rising up towards the heart to lift and open the heart as you lengthen the back of the neck and drop the chin down and in. So you feel this balance between the tailbone getting heavy, the sit bones and the pelvis connecting to the earth, and the heart lifting and opening at the same time. So you lift the belly out of the pelvis and you release the tension in the throat. So within this container of technique, we're allowing the breath to unfold naturally, intelligently, without forcing or straining the breath, without forcing the breath into a particular pattern based on expectation, based on judgment or assessment, just allowing the breath to unfold. As we hold the body upright with integrity, watching the breath. Releasing where there's tension. Good. Just a couple more breaths at your own pace. And over the next few rounds of breath, gently release all the technique. Soften the arms and the hands. Release the lower belly. Release the tone in the vocal cords. You can close the eyes if you like. And just settle in the seated position. Allow the breath to be completely natural. Simply watching the breath and feeling into sensation. We'll finish with the closing mantra. Bring the palms to heart center. Inhale. Swasti prajabhyaha paripalayantan nyayena margena mahim mahishaha go brahmanebhyaha shubhamastu nityam Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. When you're ready, you can make your way to Shavasana, final resting pose. Take a vinyasa if you'd like, or you can just go straight there. Completely relaxing the body. Full body relaxation. Releasing the tension behind the eyes, in the throat, in the whole body. Feel free to stay here longer if you'd like, but if you're ready, you can start to deepen the breath. And slowly start to wake up the body. Bringing the knees into the chest and the arms over your head. Coming over to either side. And slowly making your way to a seated position. We'll just take one final moment here. Feeling into the residue from the practice. Offering the fruits of this practice so that they may be of benefit to others. Just feeling into the seed of mindfulness, of presence, and taking it with you throughout the rest of the day to share with those who cross your path. God, let's just finish with one Om together. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for sharing your practice.